Good evening, my name is Genevieve Bailey. I am the Extension Services Supervisor at the Wilson County Public Library. Thank you for coming to our last candidate forum of 2023, hosted by the Library in partnership with the Wilson Times. Corey Friedman, editor of the Wilson Times, will serve as our moderator. I want to thank our candidates for being here and for your desire to serve or continue to serve the people of Wilson County. Every year, public libraries across the country celebrate National Voter Registration Day by hosting events that encourage citizens to register and to vote in our elections. Voting is vitally important to our future, the future of our communities, and the future of our country. Local elections are particularly important and have the greatest potential impact on our daily lives. Tonight, we will have the opportunity to listen and learn from the candidates in contested races. We invite you to ask questions by writing them down and submitting them to our panel, or by raising your hand to have them collected. Questions will be reviewed by our panel and submitted to the moderator to ask the candidates. This is a nonpartisan event. Candidates from both parties, as well as independent candidates, were invited to each event. Some will not be able to attend due to prior commitments, which in no way reflects upon their commitment to the citizens of Wilson County. This is an opportunity to engage in civil discourse, and so we ask that you refrain from demonstrating your approval or disapproval of what you hear tonight. And we ask the same of our candidates. Our goal tonight is to listen and learn with unfailing courtesy and respect for everyone here. As a public library, we have high standards for customer conduct enforced by our customer conduct policy. Finally, some housekeeping. Bathrooms and water fountains are across the hall. After 8 p.m., you may exit the building directly to the left of the assembly room through the glass doors. Don't hesitate to ask our security guard for help if you need help to your car. Voter registration forms are available at the back if you would like to register to vote, as well as more question forms, pens and clipboards, and information about upcoming events. I want to thank all of our candidates once again for coming tonight during what must be a very busy time for you all. I will begin by asking you each 2 questions. You will have 2 minutes to respond to each question, and at the end of the evening, you will also have 2 minutes for a closing statement. I'll get started, and if you can just pass the next person in the line down as we go. So, what do you see as some of the issues faced by Wilson County citizens, and what are some of the actions you would take to address these issues?
What are the issues?
And what actions would you take?
When we think about issues, we know we have a housing crisis, and the action would be to build more affordable housing. Sidewalks are an issue, so we need to find a way to have more sidewalks where our children will not be in danger of crossing or moving from one area to another. I firmly believe that some of the issues that we have been dealing with for the past year or so regarding cemetery, my position is if we own it, we take care of it. If we do not own it, then whoever owns that cemetery needs to take care of it. If we can find some way to assist them, then we will assist them. But I think we have a lot of issues that we cannot, in a very meaningful way, pour resources at everything. So we have to be strategic, and we put in perspective 1, 2, 3, 4, and then when we finish it, we go on to the next thing. Sometimes we want to do everything, and trying to do everything diminish our capacity and our ability to really do something that is profound.
How everybody doing today?
Fine.
That's good, that's good. I'm Dante Chestnut. I will be City Council District 2. But some of the issues that we have are drugs. You know, what we call wet embalming fluid. You know, a lot of them smoking that and running out in the middle of the street. They getting naked, and that's something that our community don't need to see. You know, another issue is with the kids. A lot of them toting guns nowadays. A A lot of them don't have guidance. A lot of the families are broken homes. The father's not in the house anymore, you know, so it's time to step up as a community, you know, and, you know, break the cycle. Cause it's an ongoing thing, it's going generation after generation. So those are the issues right there. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna bring the elders together, I'm gonna bring the younger generations together, and I'm gonna bridge the gap and make sure we have a better community. That's what I'm gonna do.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Devontae Ferguson, and I'm a candidate for City Council District 4. I believe first I want to say for the families of Maine, that tragedy, that mass shooting that happened in Maine, and as my background in law enforcement, I think public safety is important, especially as we see our city growing and certain developments happening. I think when you look at our public safety, we got an excellent police department, but we need to make sure they have the equipment and tools to handle these days society what we face with like what happened in Maine. So I think that's really a big issue too. And I also think we talk about affordable housing. I think that's a key issue as well facing our city. And we need to have a partnership with our county partnerships, county government, to make sure we address those issues and make sure we have adequate housing as well as affordable. So I think those are two major issues.
I'm James Johnson from District 4. I want to thank y'all for coming. Thank the library for hosting us. With several issues, all these are excellent issues. Our police department, we fund the PAL program. They're in the community doing these summer camps, spring camps, fall camps, and they're working with as many children as they can work with. So we are funding them. They do their own fundraising. As for our housing, we have partnerships. The challenge, I think, was mentioned by the mayor at the last meeting was with our housing, is we're not an entitlement city. The challenge there is many folks did not fill out their census forms. So you have to do that 50,000 threshold for us to be an entitlement city. So all the money that we're spending, we have to qualify for through grants competing with smaller cities. Well, us being larger cities, we don't get as much as the smaller communities do. So every dime we're putting into it, if it's those small grants that we're qualifying for, the city's spending your tax dollars to do those programs. So that's some limitations that we have to overcome with the housing is we've got to fill out our census forms and get our neighbors to fill out our census forms. So we just get that entitlement based on the progress we've made with housing. That's gonna be a no-brainer when we get in, because we apply for these grants, we get them. But we're not getting the large amount like Rocky Mount or Greenville or those other entitlement cities. So I'm just gonna agree with Vail that we're working on the housing, the Centro project, we're partners, we're putting $1 million in that project for 25% of that to be at wage for, work first, the teachers, the police, and the fire. We put $1 million towards that, so 25% of that project, which is 60 units, will be available to them at a market rate that's less than 30% of their income. Thank you.
If you'll hang on to the mic, I'll start this way with the next question. Tell us the experience you have that makes you the best candidate for this office.
Well, some folks don't appreciate that I've been here for 9 terms. So, but you know, let me share with you some folks that have some doubts about what's going on. For 31 years of growth in the city of Wilson, these are just some of the projects. Wilson Corporate Park, Boykin Theater, Buckhorn Reservoir, purchase of toys and property for recreation, downtown streetscape, utilities under I-95 to get the development there. Gillette Soccer Fields, Hackney Industrial Park, Freeman Place, Martin Luther King Jr. Parkway, Target Center, Freeman Roundhouse, Police and Fire Accreditation, Customer Service Center, Green Light Broadband, Nash Street Lost. There were no downtown residents here until that project was done. The Tiger Grant, GK Butterfield Train Depot, Beddingfield Interchange, Gillette Baseball Complex, Electricity selling the assets to save us $88 million as of August. Arts Council Building, Whirligig Park, Lake Wilson, Wiggins Mill, Greater Rotary Park, multiple neighborhood parks, several water retention projects, water and wastewater treatment facilities, Gillette Baseball and Soccer, Dog Park, Barton Streetscape, over $1 million to coincide with their entranceway. Gig East, 587 Campers Corporate Park, North Carolina Baseball Museum, Fleming Stadium upgrades, Whirligig Station, Recreation Accreditation, Parking Deck, YMCA, Wilson Community College, Centro, RIDE, nationally renowned microtransit system, purchase of Wilson Mall, Kroger demolition, several demos and brownfield cleanups, including the area downtown considered for a stadium demolition of the old school cafeteria, creating space that eventually became Truist. Public pool access at city rates for non-members at the Y. Sidewalk from 301 Lee campus to Wilson Community College main campus. Facade grant for Fikewood, Miracle Field, Pender Crossing to be completed, pickleball complex to be completed. $42 million in economic impact from the Gillette visitors from 2005 to 2022. Financial Services has received certificates of excellence for distinguished budget presentation awards for 37 and 35 years in the Biotech Training Center that will be coming. Thank you.
Well, I come from a family of service. I love Wilson. This is my home. I went to Wilson Community College, went to the police academy there, got my 2-year associate's degree in criminal justice, went on from there to get my bachelor's degree from UNC Pembroke in public administration, and I got my master's degree in organizational leadership from Eastern University. I volunteer here with the American Red Cross, with the Wilson Teen Court Program, the courthouse downtown. I mean, this is my home. My family always taught me to give back to my community, and I love service, and I'm always about the people, and that's what's important. And that's my experience, and I thank the people that allowed me to get experience. With Wilson Police Explorer Program for 10 years, I had a major mentor, the late Officer Christopher Jones, who taught us and instilled us fair is acceptable, but to quit is not. And for the last 10 years of my life, I've been dedicated to Wilson, and that's what I'm gonna continue to do. Thank y'all.
Wow, man, that was a good answer, man. Y'all make sure y'all vote for him. Why I'm the best? Because I am the best. You know, when these city councils was giving up on our swimming pool, guess what? Dante was the one that stepped up for that. Dante said, let's go take care of our swimming pool. We called the elders up, we called the young generation, and said, we're not gonna let y'all take our pool away from us. That's something that the city council didn't step up on, you know. On top of that, I'm a mentor. I made a whole mentoring program from my own pocket. You know, I ain't asked for no money. I went and did it myself. I worked 2 jobs. It was times that I only had 3 hours of sleep. I worked at my jobs. I got straight off, and I went to go pick up about 25 kids to my mentoring program. On top of that, I started a semi-pro football team to keep the kids out of trouble from the age 18 and up, to keep them from gun violence, keep them from joining gangs, and just keep them out the streets, and still try to send them to go get their education in college. I'm the best, I'm telling you, y'all. I work with Ken, one of the best people, you know, that we can have in our community. I helped him. We brought back, about $66 million. And I'm proud of him. Now we can put that back into our community on the east side, you know, and take care of our community with the kids, get them a better education, and all of that type of stuff. I work with Carter. Help him get elected. Y'all make sure y'all re-elect him too. You know, he the man for the job. And on top of that, I sent about 25 kids to college myself. So that's why I'm the best.
The experience of leadership is very diverse. You lead in every dimension of life. As a father, I'm a leader. I have a son, I have a daughter that has a PhD, and I led her that way. Most of you know that I'm an ordained Methodist minister, and currently I serve as the presiding elder for 22 churches, 19 active, several ministers. I have a responsibility to ensure that they follow the guidelines and the law and the discipline of the Methodist Church. In terms of city council, I agree with James. Our accomplishment is a very prestigious one, if I should say. A lot of cities, different municipals don't achieve what we have achieved. Greenlight is one of the largest, when you think about the leadership that had to go in place to have our own broadband. And we are one of the only cities in North Carolina that can say we have our own community broadband. So leadership leads. We don't go by position. We don't go by, I am the city council member. We go by what you produce. And leadership produce. We don't just speak, we produce. Save the Youth, I started in 2005. We have several doctors, lawyers from that program that are actively involved, professors, teaching in colleges, and you can call them. They came through Save the Youth. So I believe that housing was a big priority, so we have 16 affordable studio apartments right there on Nash Street. That's leadership, without a doubt.
Thank you so much. Okay, so now please welcome our moderator, Corey Friedman, to the stand.
One climate-sensitive team.
Good evening. Thank you to all of our candidates and everyone here in the audience. Mike's a little slippery. All right, well, I have our first audience question of the evening. As you complete these cards, please turn them to our excellent library staff there at the back, and they'll bring them up to me. We want to prioritize the audience questions, although I have quite a long list that I can draw on as well. So our first question, what's your opinion on why economic development and new business is being focused downtown and in West Wilson when there is plenty of land available in East Wilson?
That is one of the questions that I was waiting for like almost 10 years ago. Because I think sometimes we have a mental block about the process. One, the process is to create an economic engine. Downtown is the economic engine for our city. The more investment you have is the more taxes you collect, is the more we are able to not do east, west, north, south, but to do all of Wilson. Because where there is blight, it is not East Wilson's blight, it is Wilson's blight. And so often we get caught up with east and west. Where there is a murder, it is Wilson. Somebody get murdered in Wilson. Where there is no water in an area, we are responsible to put water there. So this is not a matter of east, west, north, south. This is a matter of developing the economic engine that will be a catalyst for transforming all of Wilson. And this is one of the very divisive elements of splitting east-west, when all we have to do is say, what can we do to create the engine to get more money to develop these areas? That is what I think. The other piece to this is that, yes, there's a historical element, and this historical element is more defeating us than allowing us to be more progressive. We cannot allow our history to define us. What we need to do is let our potential as a city define who we are. And I believe that East Wilson, better days are coming.
Come on, man, we ain't gonna sugarcoat none of this. We talk about east and west and all of that type of stuff. Yeah, it's obvious a lot of businesses going to the west side and to downtown, but we forgetting about our east side. You know, we don't want to fight the east and west. We want them to come together, but we still want to provide businesses and stuff for our kids also. Because if you're not providing anything over there for our youth on the east side of town, it's going to get destroyed. And we ain't just talking about east, the west will too, if you don't give us somewhere to go. So I just feel like our city council should step up on that. Thank you.
That is a real good question. It is. And I want to know too, but you know, my thing is, I think it's our leadership. It's our focus, what we focus on. And what we keep saying what we can't do. My grandfather always told me, don't tell me what you can't do. Tell me what you are going to do. So I want to hear what y'all gonna do. My thing is, we need to invest in East Wilson. We need to find businesses, support our local businesses, support people that want to start businesses in Wilson, and and have incentives for them to go over to the east side. We can do this. It's 2023. Okay, I mean, we can have stuff on that side of town. We just gotta put a little bit of effort, put a little bit, put your shoulders into it, and let's get it working. So that's a good question, because I haven't been on the city council for 30 years. So I want to know.
Well, since we're not throwing pixie dust everywhere to make everything seem rosy, let's just be honest that you've gotta have partnerships. I can't make Walgreens stay in that location that it's in. I can't do that. But we can attack it from 2 points. Campus 587 was a partnership with the county to start industry there, just like at the Wilson Corporate Park, and build inward. Downtown is building outward towards the corporate park. So you've got 2 anchors, they're gonna try to come together. And if you're working on the middle, from downtown out to Campus 587, with the Federal Express hub that just popped in, and the other job folks that we have looking there, that's gonna knock out a lot of concern for saying, make a bank come to East Wilson, or make somebody move their car dealership back to East Wilson, or however you want to do it. There's no pixie dust. It takes a lot of effort. Just because it's 2023 doesn't mean things are easier. It's tougher. There's more competition. There's more things we have to come up with and be more creative. It's not, the question wasn't what. I want to hear what you got to say. You should already have your mind and your hands down in it trying to massage whatever you can out to show folks what's available and what can happen. And what we're doing now is with the investment in the corporate park, the 587 and downtown is transforming this town. So people can put on their glasses and say they want to take the job that we're in, but you can't ignore the successes that have been going on as well. We've had a tremendous amount of success. And if you don't see the successes downtown growing towards the east, especially with the possibility of a stadium coming in and $250 million of development that's going to go back towards Nash Street and 587. Thank you.
All right, and Councilman Johnson will be the first to receive our next question as we continue in the alternating pattern. This question is, what is your opinion on how the issue of Vic Cemetery should be handled?
Well, as I stated in the paper, we thought Vic Cemetery was taken care of because the elders at that time, with the neighborhood meeting, stated what they wanted to take place. So it was done in a good faith effort, along with Catherine Taylor. Many of you probably had her as a teacher, school board member, and she didn't hold her word. She shared her opinions, and she was a very strong advocate that we should do what we should treat the people buried there with respect, and we needed to take care of the property that the city didn't know they owned for years and years for some reason. I wasn't here then. But I did, we thought we made a good faith effort into do it, and now we're trying to make another good faith effort for the new generation. The concern is, after this generation, in 25 more years, was it handled efficiently then to the new group? So we're doing the best effort, putting the best foot forward to treat people with respect, and that's where we are today. Thank you. First, I'm going to say, from the bottom of my heart, I'm sorry that we're in that situation and that has happened. And I don't want none of my family members, to ever be treated that way. And I wasn't there back then when it took place. I don't know the exact details. So I think it's important that we investigate that, find out what happened, what's going on, and make sure we don't do that again. Make sure we do the record wrong that we did. And that's our next step is to find what happened and have some clarity on that.
It's sad what happened to Vic Cemetery, and I hate that happened. But once again, city council, we gotta, vote the best people in office. Come on now, we've been doing this all these years. Y'all let these people come to our churches, eat their food, and vote for them, man. Y'all gotta look into these people, man, and vote Chestnut. Chestnut gonna stand up for the cemeteries and everything that we need to do, man. Chestnut, man, for City Council, District 2. Thank you.
Since I have 2 minutes, let me just regress a minute to investment. Investment cannot just drop from the sky. When we have developers that enter the city and they look at where to put their investment, they are putting their investment where they're going to get returns. They want to make sure they have a profit margin. And so we have been intentional about pushing investors to look at the eastern part of our city. 301 is an indication that is going to be a vibrant area, but we got to give it time because investors have to come and move into that area for that development to take place. If we don't have developers, we who live in East Wilson or the investors who live in East Wilson need to pool their funds and start building up East Wilson. We don't have to run to the city for everything. Just start your own and you will see the reality of it. As from this for the cemetery, I said this before and I say it again. Let the dead rest. Let them rest. We are creating a problem that is solvable. If it is our cemetery, the city must take care of it. But we cannot go back and put headstones. So we can do a mural, we can become as Afrocentric as we want to, but we must create something that speaks to the history of what happened and the transformation and let it be historical instead of trying to create animosity and strife about the cemetery. We must solve it, and the only way to solve it is to come together as one community. Put the mural up, let it speak to our history.
Thank you. Our next question. What actions will you take to renovate the Reed Street pool now that money has been allocated?
What action will I take? I'll vote for them to renovate the pool.
The actions that I take for the pool is I help get more lifeguards. You know, this past year, you know, we paid for the pool out of our pockets every day for about 3 weeks. We paid for students to go to the swimming pool and swim, you know, but a lot of times it got overcrowded and Reed Street was complaining about not having the lifeguards. So what I did with my mentoring program, I took one of the kids from the mentoring program and got his lifeguard certification. So now he's a lifeguard. So he will be one of the kids probably, you know, to be, hey man, don't talk to me. So I took one of the kids to, you know, to the swimming pool to get a certification, man. And we want to make a difference with that, man. And put all the kids and whatever we can so they can have a good time, man. Y'all keep saving Reed Street Pool.
It's simple, make sure that the money goes to where it needs to go, and that's Reed Street. It's as simple as that. And Dante talked about the lifeguards. I think education is very important, and that's what we can have a community partnership with our community to teach our kids that might want to be lifeguards, how to swim, and that could be something to put on their resume to grow them and take them to higher places. So I think that's very important.
We've already voted to allocate that money. Thank you.
And you receive our next question. So in some reporting that's coming out in tomorrow's edition of the Wilson Times by our own Christopher Long, broadcaster David Glenn of the North Carolina Sports Network says a new stadium that meets the MLB's requirements for minor league teams will cost roughly 60 to 80 million to build. Wilson's proposed partnership with the Carolina Mudcats would rely on the sale of municipal bonds to finance a downtown stadium. Because of the project's accelerated timetable, a bond referendum may not be feasible. Do you believe Wilson should take on up to 80 million in public debt without giving taxpayers enough vote?
Well, if you will recall, people vote us to make decisions that represent them. It's a representative government. It's not a done deal because the numbers have not been presented to us. And the three partners that are involved, the city, the private developer, and the ball club, have not signed any documents because we haven't found numbers. So I'm gonna wait to see the numbers before I'm hopeful it happens, but I've not seen those numbers to tell you one way or the other.
No, the simple is just no. We don't have enough information, and we're going to just neglect our community partnership with the Wilson Times. And it's a no for me. I don't understand how we're going to have the secrecy of what, what's going to be involved. Why are we going to take on, $8 million of debt and not have the people, it's a representative government. So, You need to hear from the people, you need to answer phone calls, talk to them, maybe hold some forums in the community to see what they're saying. So that's very important. So it's a no for me. I think it's disrespectful how the city has handled the situation with the Wilson Tops. I like to hear from the Wilson Tops. I think we should put them on the agenda for city council and let them hear their side of the story. Why can't we do that? It takes two city council persons, right, to put them on, put them on the agenda. So let's hear from that side before we just rush to make a decision that's gonna put us in debt and just put us way behind. So let's see what we're gonna do with that.
I agree with Mr. Ferguson. I support the Wilson Towers. Why would we go do all that, put all that money into that? And we can do something else with that money. We can add on to the Towers. You know, they've been here all of these years, so why not support them like y'all want to support, this new baseball team? Again, let's make the best decisions by putting the right people in office. Vote Chestnut. Thank you.
Now, the question before about pool, just want to make sure it said what you do for renovation, not programmatic stuff, but renovation. So we vote to make sure we repair, we keep the pool. So let's go on to the stadium. Now, we gotta be honest, this is not about a stadium, this is about economic development. You look at other cities that Fayetteville, they build a stadium, and what is happening? Almost $200 million in investment. Now, Corey, you have a figure of 60 to 80. We don't know what the figure is because that is not presented to us. Yeah, when that time comes, we will cross that street. But I want us to understand that building a stadium is about economic development. And if we want to go in terms of the geography and say East Wilson, gonna be much better off because you're talking about $300 to $500 million in and around the city because of one decision. So I can tell you, I am 100%, no ambiguity. I am supportive of us developing a league of our own right here with our big stadium. When that bridge comes, we will cross it. I am not going to back down on that because our poor and needy will know that because of what we do today, it is their future. Do not diminish the capacity of your city by saying we should not do a stadium when we are looking at economic development that is going to keep us going for years to come. Sorry, I'm a preacher, don't give me a mic.
That's all right, we'll get our next question. So how you choose to allocate your time and which questions you address during that time is entirely up to each candidate. So the next question is, do you believe Wilson needs more affordable housing? If elected, how would you tackle the issue of rising rents?
If we believe, oh sure, we need affordable. That is why 2011, the old terminal drugstore was sitting there. In fact, when I came here in 2004, and we have all that blight and the dilapidated buildings behind St. John AME Zion Church and the Baptist Church and Calvary, all of those buildings were there sitting down. I took the initiative with the church to buy the entire block there. And we relocate the residents that were living there. We had people who were shot, people who were using drugs. We were able to clean that corner up. Now, the economy went down in 2008, so we weren't able to fulfill what we were trying to do. Then we bought the terminal drugstore and we put 16 studio apartments. $727 all inclusive, all of the utilities. Now, that is affordable. We have a waiting list. I would like to see us do more of that. That is why I support the tiny houses. Not everybody in council is gonna support tiny houses, but I support it, because I've gone to other cities that I see tiny houses have been built, and the people are having somewhere to go and call home. I'd rather have a tiny house than no house. I'd rather have somewhere that I can go in and say, this is my house. Even if it is 400 square feet, it is my house. So I am adamant that we need to give incentive, but remember, these are developers. The city don't go out and build houses. So when you hear people talk about affordable houses, we just have to give incentives and encourage people to put these houses in.
We talking about affordable housing. Ask yourself, what is affordable housing? What's affordable to y'all might not be affordable to somebody else. You know, rent going up, you know, light bills going up, our elders out here struggling. So we talking about affordable houses, make the rent low again, you know, make the houses low again, you know, so we talk about affordable houses, some people just be talking. They just be talking to be talking. Make the houses affordable for real. Vote Chestnut.
I think, you know, it's important that we, research it. We need to look at what's the best practices, to tackle those issues, because it is important, and we need affordable housing. People are struggling, to make ends meet, and as a government entity, we respond to the people and what their needs are. And so we need to do something that's cost efficient, and, we might be put together a committee or something that's independent of experts, people that deal with this day in, day out, maybe some bigger cities that have done, larger populations, to see how we can address those issues. And I just think that's very important. We talk about, community partnerships. Why not partner with our county government? Why not partner with the county commissioners to say, what can we do together to better our city? Because the city's in the county, so why can't we do that? That's, a good approach to that.
Well, just so everybody's still keeping it real, on the city council, you have to go into closed session to talk economic development projects. There's these things called non-disclosure agreements that you have to sign, and if you do that, you void the agreement, and the developer is not going to build here. Much less our reputation is going to be hurt because we have violated the non-disclosure agreements with other developers that want to come in. So that's a very significant thing when you say that it's not being transparent. And since I have my 2 minutes to use my time, the TOB's biggest sponsor, City of Wilson. We're their largest partner. We are their largest partner, and we just gave them a 3-year lease. We don't want to see the TOBs fail. This isn't about the TOBs, though. This is about a development that's going to change downtown towards the corporate park. The Centro project is $50 million. Picture 4 or 5 more of those. It may be in the way of housing. It may be in the way of apartments. We partnered with the Eatman Homes with grants to help them get their project done. Dakota project is coming over there by Lane Street Park. We've partnered with them with the grant money. So to say housing, what are we going to do with it? We're doing pretty good at it, I believe, for a town that doesn't qualify as an entitled city. Thank you.
And you'll also receive our next question. So the City of Wilson works closely with local, state, and federal partners. If you were writing a city council wish list for either Congress or the General Assembly, what are the top items that you would request for Wilson?
Well, thank goodness for Buck and our House Rep Fontenot. They brought home $23 million for our infrastructure. We need about $60 million. So I would certainly advocate for the other 40 and change that we probably would need to do that. Thank you. I'd like to, if I can, Corey, address what we heard earlier. We heard that we want money over the people. We want to bring money in and disrespect people that have invested in our community. And I just think that's totally wrong. And if the economic development is going to be in the hands of dissing our community partners, this is no for me. As far as what we can do, my wish list will be education is the priority. We need to have a sound-based education system and programs such as the Wilson Police Explorer program that was striving, that taught you leadership, values, skills that you use in the workforce. I think that's very important. Just the Wilson Teen Corps program, that taught you, structure, government, courtroom, judicial system.
those are things we need to invest in, so those, our kids, our youth can have, things to do and certain things to grow out and look towards. I also want to say our senior citizens, they're important, overall, I believe our country, we diss our senior citizens. We don't treat them as the value they are. They're gold mines. They got a mindset of knowledge. So I think we need to invest in our senior citizen programs. We need to have more senior citizen programs and continue to build and improve our partnership with the county government.
Good answer, brother. I would like to put the money on my wish list with Moms on a Mission, because they fighting against drugs and everything that's going on with that. I'll put it towards the elders and the youth. That's where I put it to, because the youth is our future. Vote for Chestnut.
So I agree with James Johnson. Our infrastructure is old, very old. There are areas of Wilson, if you go to put a housing development there, you have to change out everything. For too many years, we have census, and if you don't fill it out, we are not going to be an entitled city. Our entitlement allows us to pull down federal funding. Infrastructure allows us to expand. It allows us to do some things that we are not able to do right now. And if we have to do it, we are in competition with Snow Hill. Because Snow Hill is going for the same dollars that Wilson is going for. It is imperative that we look at our infrastructure. It is old, 50, 60, 70 years. It needs to be upgraded. And if we do that, then we can now attract more investors. More investors. The county and the city can work together. I hear people talk about education. The county is responsible for education. The city, yeah, we can give incentive, but we have United Way that we give a pot of money to distribute to the different nonprofits. You have to do an application, you apply, if you get it, you get it. If you don't get it, it's because it isn't possible to have enough, and so we have applied several times and we don't get it. But the money is there for education or youth program. I don't want us to think that the city is not trying. The city is doing its best.
Thank you. And you'll also be the first to receive our next question. So in its 2023 legislative agenda, the city recommended a change to public notice requirements that would allow Wilson to post legally required notices online instead of placing them in local newspapers like the Wilson Times, which publishes both in print and online. The county commissioners declined to make a similar request for the county government because it could reduce access to public information. Do you support any changes to North Carolina's current public notice requirements for local governments?
I will agree with the county. It can be twofold. We are able to do it online. We are in a technological era that we can do both. We can do both the media, but not just pointing out just the local newspaper, but since we're in Wilson, the Wilson Times is what we use, certainly. All cities, the municipalities, we have to make sure that our citizens are aware of what is taking place. So both media are essential. We can do the newspaper, and we also can do online. I want us to just remember that if we fail to inform our citizens are not going to be informed. And so the best way to do it is to give them the information in every possible ways we can so they can be informed. So I agree with the county.
I support the newspaper to get the information to the public, and I'm gonna continue to support the newspaper. Vote Chestnut.
I think the point for transparency, any medium we can put out public notice, we need to do it. Newspaper vote, we can do all online, you know, word of mouth, everything. So I think that's very important.
Well, there's 500 cities in the North Carolina municipalities, Mike, is that close enough?
Yeah,
And typically, they send out a legislative list that council typically will go along with other 500 cities. I don't have an issue with staying with the Daily Times, it's just a matter of sticking with other 500 cities, municipalities, thank you.
Thank you. And you'll be the first to receive our next question as soon as I select it. Oh, here's a good one. So in June, the city council voted unanimously to suspend the public parking rules for contractors working on downtown redevelopment projects. That means that architects, builders, contractors can park in paid lots and on street spaces for free. Why should the developers get free parking downtown while Wilson residents and business owners continue to pay?
Fortunately, I've attended all your forums, so I was able to do a little research, so I could be more informed for you. It's a common practice around the country. It is new to Wilson because Wilson is now experiencing major downtown construction. Most of our street parking is 2 hours on the most popular streets. It would be unreasonable to have a contractor move around the city every 2 hours while they are working on a building project that often lasts months. In the end, it would cost downtown property owners and business owners more for their projects if we had this level of inconvenience to the construction process, and construction vehicles being forced to park all over downtown would be a worse outcome for our citizens. Thank you.
I think that, you know, we should be fair and considerate to our citizens, because it's, at the end of the day, it's a representation of government. What our citizens want, that's what we need to abide by. And so I just feel like whatever the people want, that's what we should support.
I support the contractors for doing the job, and they do what they gotta do, you know, to save time and money, and they do what they gotta do. Vote Chestnut.
so we want investment, we want development, but we don't want flexibility. We cannot have our cake and eat it. When we need developers to come and make tangible development in our community, we have to have the level of flexibility that ensure that other developers will not be scared to come to Wilson if they know that they're working on a project and they cannot park. So I know that's a good question, but we want investment that builds a firm tax base that we can expand all of the city and give the service needed to all that require the service.
Thank you. Wilson Energy has been successful, as I believe your colleague mentioned earlier, in reducing our electric rates. Duke Energy estimates that its rates could double over the next several years, and Wilson is a wholesale customer of Duke Energy. So what can the council do to mitigate anticipated rate increases that would be passed along to the city?
Well, currently, we are the lowest in eastern North Carolina. I know it might appear as if we are the highest because there's a lumping of our bills, you know, we get everything on one bill. And I would advocate that we now send your water bill, and I don't know how many of us really want a lot of paper, but send your water bill, send you a green light bill, send you, you know, different bills, and you will realize that your utility bill in terms of electric is not as high. Our staff, we have some of the best staff in all of North Carolina. We have a strong council that they are intentional. We look at what is around us and we set our rate, and our rate really is the lowest. Believe me, it is, because I serve as a member of North Carolina municipalities, and I know what rates are all around. And right now, we are good. I know some people are having some hard times, believe it. But when I look back at 2004, our rates were very high. And what we are experiencing now is good rates. And we negotiate, that's what we do. So we will negotiate with you and keep our rates low the best way we can.
I'm not in the city council seat yet, but vote for me. But hey, these light bills is high. Some of y'all ain't never slept in the dark, you know. Some of y'all ain't never had y'all lights cut off. I'm one of the ones that had to stay with my lights off, you know what I mean? Like, and go through hard times. And imagine the elders not being able to pay their light bills, you know, and they got kids. Imagine some of the ones that's on machines can't pay their light bills. So whoever's on the city council, they need to step up and do the job. And I'm gonna be the ones that step up. I'm gonna get the information for y'all, and we gonna work on this light bill, man. Y'all vote for Chestnut. I'm gonna stand up for y'all. Thank y'all.
Can you recite the question for me again?
Sure. Duke Energy estimates that its electric rates could double over the next several years, and Wilson is a wholesale customer of Duke Energy. So what can the council do to mitigate anticipated rate increases that would be passed along to the city of Wilson?
Yeah, addressing the issue about people, you know, with utilities being high and people struggling to pay their bills. I know, it was mentioned before about the late fees, and I think we need to, you know, people that are struggling, help them. You know, not just give them an extension, but help them be able to pay that they can't afford to, help them sometimes. Now, I do agree about maybe negotiating something, a deal that can lower our rates, that can better, you know, our rates. And I think that's very important to have that conversation and dialogue.
Well, right now, Wilson is a part of Electricities, which is the largest customer for Duke Power. Our rates are 33% residentially cheaper than the Duke Power customers because we buy our energy in blocks. We're already taking steps to try to fend that off through the two agencies, Gimple 1 and Gimple 2. And with that buying power, we are able to keep our rates that low. And with the efficiency of our staff and technology, we're lower than many of our fellow partners in Electricities. Thank you.
Thank you, and you will also be the first to receive our next question. With Juneteenth now a federal holiday, would you support closing all city buildings and declaring it a City of Wilson holiday?
Well, there's a lot of, wait, you go get here. I'm glad you're calling me out in front of everybody, because I'm gonna tell you right in front of everybody. I don't have a problem with federal holidays being recognized. We took Veterans Day and made that a holiday as well in November. If that's the rule of the council, I'm fine with doing that, because, we have several organizations that I'm a member of, tourism and the city contribute to that holiday. Thank you.
I support it, you know, it's a federal holiday, it's, you know, it's recognizing culture, diversity, so, yeah, I mean, I support that, you know, I support that.
I support Juneteenth. I support it. I remember Mr. Roger Hutchinson talked about it. You know, I like to take Juneteenth right there on the east side, across the track right there, and have the events going on over there again, you know, and celebrate like that and represent our community. Vote for Chestnut.
Yes, I will support Juneteenth as a holiday that all the Wilson employees will have off. But we need to be mindful that Juneteenth is not east, west, north, south. Juneteenth is because of enslaved folks who did not get the news that they were free folks. And our freedom is more important than our celebration. We will remember Juneteenth as a part of our history, and we cannot allow the grief and the real disgusting part of our history to define us. Juneteenth should be a time of reflection on the fact that we need to look at equity, not equality, because we can celebrate and still have no equity. I am adamant that there is a need for equity. Equity is not when everybody have a chicken. Equity is when everybody have a stove with gas that can fry the chicken. That's equity. Equality is just having the chicken. So we can celebrate Juneteenth, and it's a great thing, but I want us to focus on equity, where every black boy, every black girl, every white boy, every white girl can grow up having equity, that the generation to come will have equity to live on. That's what we need to focus on, the next generation, that no one will be left behind.
Thank you. And our next question. A 2021 audit identified financial deficiencies and record-keeping issues at the Wilson Cemetery Commission. Do you believe the Cemetery Commission should remain independent of the city with its own paid staff and its own bank accounts, or should City Hall play a greater role in management and oversight of the city cemeteries?
Well, we have several commissions, and the cemetery, they are governed by rules and regulation, and they have their audits. If the audit comes up and there are issues with the audit, then the board, that commission needs to sit down and evaluate it. We as city council, we can say we need to look at some adjustment. We need to look at whether or not there are tangible things we can put in place to ensure that they follow the guidelines that accounting principles require. Now, cemetery, all cemetery that belongs to the city, it is our cemetery and we should take care of it. So we need to finance it that they will not have this discrepancy. Now, if you have embezzlement, that is wrong, and then somebody should go to jail. And if it is just a discrepancy where money was allocated in different areas, and based on what I have looked at, I believe that it is solvable. It is just for our attorney, and that's, when you have a situation like that, we have a city attorney. This is not something that the city council just jump up and say we're gonna resolve. We have an attorney that will look it over and see our legal footing, and that's where it's at for me.
I think the city need to look over it. Mr. Cass been telling y'all over and over and over and over and over and over and over again that somebody covering the funds and all of that type stuff. Come on, man. Like, we need to get some new people in these, in these positions. Because the money coming up short, our community coming up short, and the businesses coming up short. Come on, man. Vote for Chestnut. Thank y'all.
I believe that we need to look at some reforms, and we need to, there again, maybe look at some similar cities that have similar setups and see how they address their issues. And it needs reform. There needs to be accountability, and that accountability is our city council. And they might not have a direct oversight of it, but they can step in and require certain requirements of the people that are appointed to that board. And so it's important that we address that, and we need reform and accountability.
Well, Corey, as I shared with you last time, they have an open, it's a public meeting that you're welcome to go to on their whatever money it is. I attended the last meeting and asked that question. City staff gave them a clean audit. They enacted the things that they suggested to them the prior year. So they have enacted those changes that people have complained about. I just don't know that anybody has attended those meetings or made those inquiries. So I think they're on the right path with the staff advising them and going through and sharing with them those policies that they put in place, and there wasn't a finding this year for them. Thank you.
Thank you. There are many properties that could be renovated for affordable housing. Could incentives be offered to property owners to renovate properties or provide affordable or transitional housing?
Well, the partnerships we're making now, we do look for those developers. Instead of tearing a house down, we try to find if there's somebody that wants to redo the home. And we've had success in many cases, many times we haven't, so we've had to take those homes down. So we have turned these properties over to developers once they pass the screening and they share what they're going to do with the properties to make them affordable for where those homes are. Thank you.
that's a good opportunity to support, our residents, our folks that, that want to start something in Wilson, want to stay in Wilson, not move to Raleigh, Greenville, or DC. And we give them a helping hand to start their business, to start the company, not just give it to these, bigger development corporations, but people, small businesses that are growing here in Wilson, give them opportunity. This is a bridging of a gap opportunity for our city to do better by our citizens. So I think that's very important, and I will support that idea.
I support the idea. We talking about affordable housing. My brother Sincere, he come to the city council meetings all the time. He talk about affordable housing and talking about, making a difference in that. So, I support it. Yeah. There you go.
I support that. We can look at some of the dilapidated houses, renovate them, but it requires someone who's willing to invest resources. I don't want us to be naive about what we need to do. We can't just go and just tell somebody renovate your house. One, you have to purchase the house. If the developer would have to come in, purchase the house. They have to see if they have the resources that they can now retrofit that house for, if you're gonna go for elderly, or you're gonna go for people with disability, or just for normal reconstructed. It requires investment. So yes, the city can give some incentive, but you gotta have somebody who is willing to step up to the plate, because we're not gonna give the city not gonna give all the money just to renovate the house, because the city don't own that house. If we buy that house, we either going to look for a developer or we're gonna demolish it. And we have to be strategic in that we look at what is required. Managed development is better than we go around town and we have small spots and we put a house in. But having an area where you can just clean that area and then create a nice housing development there, that is more advantageous. I just believe that if you have the resources and you want to invest the resources, then yes, the city will support you and will give you incentive to get it done.
You'll also receive our next question. So every year, the city council appropriates roughly $250,000 from Wilson Energy customers' late fees for its community revitalization grant fund. The money spent on intergovernmental projects and distributed as grants to nonprofit partners. Is this a proper use of public utility revenue? Should the city reduce or eliminate late fees or continue to collect them and use the fund for a different purpose?
Now, we do have a tier program where you can pay as you go. For some people who don't have the capacity to pay the $200, they can pay weekly. In terms of investment, I don't want us to cut out the late fee. If you're late paying your bills, any other bill, you're gonna have a late fee. So the late fee is advantageous for us. But it's where we put the money of the late fee. And if we put the late fee funded in areas that need development, need restoration, then that becomes a plus for the city. So in my estimation, we need to find a way to target areas that need that funding for development and use it as incentive for that.
The money that they collect from the late fees, I feel it should be a system that we can help a lot of the elders and a lot of the people that's really struggling on their light bills. Especially when people getting the lights cut off every month, and they steady in the dark and they got kids, like I said earlier, they may be on a machine or anything, man. So we gotta be able to get back to our community. If we collecting those fees and it's a lot of money, we gotta get back to our community. Thank y'all.
I agree also about, investing that money back to folks that, you know, are struggling in their fees, in their utility bills, paying their bills. And also, we've got to take care of them first, that's first and foremost. But then, I know Councilman Bell talked about development and investment. My sister here, Rachel Howard, she has a wonderful program called Elite Vocal Ensemble, and she's been struggling to get support. This program is about youth, singing, growing leadership, and we that talk about investment. We need to invest in programs that give back to our community. That she's striving, educated, she's trying to do something for our community, for our kids to have an outlet. And those are the things that we need to look at as a city council person. We need to go into our community, look at these organizations and groups that are giving back to our community, that are struggling as well. But first and foremost, we need to take care of the folks that are struggling in the utilities. Those fees are late fees for utility bills that have been paid late. They need to give them back to people that are struggling, that can't afford it at the time. You know, we got to take care of our folks. And that's part of city council, taking care of our people that they are elected us to do.
And that's also a part of the fee, $50,000 for our winter program to help those folks. Folks, when it's below a certain temperature, do not get cut off. And late fees do go back to help that program, along with the aid of social services and what they do to help folks. So I agree with where it's going. Now, that doesn't mean it can't evolve, but at this point, I'm happy with it. Thank you.
Our next question is because of the city council policy, the videos from Wilson's council meetings that run on green lights and online don't include the public comment session. Do you feel that that sends the wrong message about citizen participation? Why or why not?
No, people take issue with it and want to devalue somebody else's opinion. There are some folks who are not comfortable standing in front of folks to begin with, much less be taped with it. So that was the initial reason that those meetings were taking off, because the public, some of the public, which everybody has value, you may not appreciate that, but they do. That is the reason why we took it off to begin with. Thank you.
I support putting back the public comments section in there. And the reason why is the city council meeting is a public meeting. You're getting up there, you're going up there, you're speaking, and you want to hear what the issues are going, the concerns of the community. Why are we going to cut that out? The city's bigger than us. They've got public forums, you hear public comments. There's no real good reason or why we should cut that out for our citizens. I support putting that back in.
I agree with Mr. Ferguson. I support putting that back in. You know, I got family members that's in Greensboro and that's asking about, you know, the public comments and all of that type stuff, and that's a way that they can learn information and understand what the city is not doing, because these are concerned citizens of Wilson that's asking questions. And you know, if you on the city council and you can't answer the questions or you scared of the people, it's about time to get off. Vote for Chestnut.
I've gone to several cities that do allow citizens to respond to the mayor and the council. Some of them are very appropriate, others are very inappropriate. There are times when we have those who come for that public time and just want to deal with a recurring issue. Doesn't matter which way you swing, you need 4 votes. You need 4 individuals who are going to think that we need to put it back there. And if you don't have 4, you can articulate for every second that we need to put it back, and it's not going to go back until you have 4 votes. So I have said I am in favor of hearing what they want to say. But if they're not appropriate, they will not get to come and speak. You cannot come and disrespect the people you elect to serve you. You gotta come and be appropriate. So I have no problem with you come and speaking at the council. I just have a problem when you come up and say everybody's gonna go to hell and you alone going to heaven. That is a problem with me.
Fair enough. Well, I won't tell you to go anywhere except, here on the, here, at the library. How do you describe Wilson to people you encounter outside our community and out of state? And what would you tell someone to encourage them to visit Wilson, to move here, or to start a business here?
Well, Wilson is one of the most creative, focused, productive place you can live. We have our parks, we have water, and we have good quality water. We are the envy of other areas because they don't have the water capacity that we have. In fact, developers are attracted to Wilson because of our water. Years gone by, the council, because of their forward thinking, they made that decision. So the buckhorn is there, we have enough water, the reservoir is there, we can draw water for years to come. Then we have green light that attract a lot of people. But then I would say we are a loving, caring, united with the 1% that become a diminishing factor. Because clearly, you know, we're not perfect city, but I always advocate for Wilson. Most of you know that I'm originally from Jamaica, but I live here, and this is the best city in all of America.
Did you know that the two
So I enjoy living here. I don't want people to think that Wilson is not a place that they can come. We have our problems, but I believe that our better days are ahead of us.
I encourage business owners to bring new business ideas. You know, Wilson is like a family. We're like a village. Just like Mr. Stevens said, we, you know, one Wilson. You know, all us coming together, man, and we're a big village, and we taking care of one another, man. And I encourage, you know, the new business owners to create something for our kids, create something, you know, a place for people to go. Right now, a lot of our people bored. You know, they sitting in the house, they can't mingle, they can't network, you know. But I do encourage everybody to go to the world again too, you know. So, you know, I encourage them to bring new ideas and new businesses. Thank you.
I tell them, you know, I love Wilson. I'm from Wilson. I went to Sally B. Howard. This is where I dreamed, had goals, ambitions. I've got great mentors. I was privileged to, you know, serve on 2 nonprofit boards, Dee's Housing, Leap Vocal Ensemble, that are doing the work. They're putting efforts in to better our city with the programs they offer, pre-K program, professional vocal teaching program. I tell them about the things that I've been able to accomplish here. I was able to go to the police academy. We got the 3rd best police academy in Eastern North Carolina. That's Wilson Community College, Coastal Plain Law Enforcement Training Center. People come all across the state to take training there, to improve on their skills on policing. And so I take pride in that. I started at the community college. And that's something I've always treasured. My experience at South B. Howard, I love art, I love history. I was able to embrace that. They embraced me. You know, Wilson, you know, embraced me. They allowed me to be the person I am today, to stand here, to sit here with you all, see democracy in the action. That's coming to these forums, answering questions, listening to people, being transparent, being invested in our community. You know, I was able to grow here. American Red Cross, been there for years, 10 years, serving disaster services, able to give back to my community because of my family's example and because of these great institutions that we have in Wilson that none like any other that I've seen or have experienced. That's what I tell them. Look at me. I was able to make it here. I'm proud to be here at this table, fighting for every single one of y'all. Thank you.
Well, several things this morning we talked to Bill as well. We have a green light, we have a broadband, that's uncommon. We're strategically placed between New York and Miami. That's a #1 kick for the employers. The employers, if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be able to build anything. Our recreation system is the envy of everybody in the state. When we go for the largest grant, we've not been told no. That's why we have what we have with the partnership with the State Park Trust Fund. We banged it out for the kids that can participate in those sports. And then you have the SPOT and other groups that work with kids, or Save a Youth, your organization. They're the groups that care about the kids. And you've got to have the jobs for the parents to get these kids involved in things as well. The community college in Barton played one of the largest roles, and sometimes they're undervalued. The community college that we have, in each community college, and I'm particularly pleased with this one because I was on the board for 16 years and the chair of it. We've invested in the young people and the older people having to learn a new job to where they can because of the economy. So I think we have many, many attributes that we can just pile on the whirligig and add the other little things that make us different. It's just a great place. Thank you.
Thank you. And a related question, what is Wilson's best kept secret and why?
Well, the best kept secret, the last place I went out of town, I was in Minnesota, and somebody asked me about Wilson, and the speaker asked the same question, what's unique about your town? And I said, whirligigs. The 50 people in the room said, what are you talking about? And I said, go to the Whirligig website, and they pulled these up, and it was half a dozen of them that said they're gonna make a trip to try to come see that. But that is something that's unique to most places. We have a lot of things, but that is the most unique that folks do not know about outside of our area in North Carolina.
I think our best kept secret is our people. We have strong, great educated folks in Wilson. Look at what we have. We got Southie Howard, a blue ribbon school, a school for the arts and education. They've advanced, they grew. We have great public school systems. We have a great community college. We have great programs like These House that after 10 years, finally getting the recognition, the work they have done, and getting the money that they need to expand and grow for all of our community. You know, we're in this together. And that's why I'm running. We're in this together. And I think it's important that we highlight those achievements and we work together to create a better Wilson for everybody.
In Wilson, I think the best kept secret is our Wilson mentoring. I say that because they have a great president, and he's giving back to the community. He's bridging the gap with the elders and the younger generation, and he's creating life skills and trades and all of that type stuff. And he's running for city council District 2. Vote Chestnut.
I have been very fortunate to go to several other cities, and I have been fortunate to live in other countries. And I want you to know that diversity is what we have. Powerful. We don't care if somebody is straight or gay, if they're black or they're white, if they're Chinese or Korean. What we care about is that they are human. We love them, we care about them. Because there is this word that Jesus spoke. He said, love your neighbor as yourself. That's the diversity we have in Wilson, where we don't look at the color or who someone is with to determine how bad or good they are. Wilson diversity is strong. And not until we come to the place where we can accept our brothers and our sisters just as we are, diverse as we are. Listen, I lost my accent many years ago, but people still listen to me when I speak. I go from one end of Wilson to another, and I will hear someone with another accent. It means that we are diverse, and we are ready to take this city to another level. I believe, and I surely believe, that our better days are ahead of us. I really believe that. Wilson is on the crust of greatness.
Thank you. And we have just about reached the end of our scheduled time, so We will give each candidate 2 minutes to make a closing statement, your message to the voters, why the people in your district should support you, or anything that you would like to say just to close this out. Closing statement, we'll start with Councilman Bell.
I gave my life to service. I'm not a politician. I am a servant. Being elected as your district councilman, it is not about District 2, District 1, or District 3, or 4, or 5. It's about Wilson for me. But I'm going to do my best to ensure that equity will be not just for one sector of Wilson or one area of Wilson, but it's for all of us. You vote for Bell. We are on a trajectory that cannot be stopped. If you stop progress by electing someone who is not able to analyze and assess and deep thinking about the outcomes of where we're going to be in the next 20 years, we don't live for now. We live for the future. So I appeal to all those who are in District 2. Listen to me. Your future is brighter. Vote for Michael S. Bell. The S is Stephen. I will work for you. I will not be on the council just shooting my mouth off. I will make sure that whatever we do is collective, that will give Wilson the win that take us to another place. I believe that if we work together, we will achieve greatness. I believe in my heart that our better days are ahead of us.
I know where you ain't gonna be in 20 years, not on the city council. Hey, but I ain't no here just shooting my mouth, man. I hear what he's saying, man. He's a good guy, you know. But with me, I just beat all the odds. You know, when people was going against me, you know, blackballing me in the city, like I don't supposed to be up here compared to them. You know what I mean? So at the time, I'm just right here standing up for my city. I'm standing up for the people that's in these seats right here. I'm saying what y'all want to say. And I'm gonna handle what y'all want us to handle up here when y'all elect me. You know, so it's more than just being city council and, you know, just being in the seat. I'm not gonna be up here just sitting down. I'm gonna be up here, you know, communicating with the rest of my teammates. I've been the captain all my life. Every team that I've been on, basketball, football, from the age 8 all the way into 21, into college football. You know, I've been the captain on all of those teams, so I can get along with everybody. You know, I'm not just gonna be up here shooting my mouth. I'm gonna be up here making a difference like I'm doing without being on the city council. I'm up here getting these kids together, preparing them, giving them a trade, giving them life skills just in case they was to drop out of school. We don't want them to drop out of school, but they still will have a trade. They still will have, you know, business about themselves, you know, and our elders, I'm standing up for them too. You know, so I'm not just gonna be up here shooting my mouth. I know I'm gonna be right here on the city council seat, so continue to vote for Chestnut, and I appreciate y'all.
I know how it feels to be ignored, neglected, and not taken serious. I know how it feels to struggle to take care of your family, to make sure you meet your needs, your obligations. I know how it feels to go to school, work 2 jobs, continue to strive to do better for yourself. I know how Wilson feels. They feel left behind. They feel neglected. People don't want to answer the phone. People don't want to call you. People don't want to speak to you for 4 years. I'm a constituent. I'm a person. I matter. You matter. Regardless of what you stand, your cultural background, your opinions, you matter. The city council belongs to you. It's the people's government. not an individual, not a group, it's the people's government. So I'm asking you, vote Devontae Ferguson, come November 7th, early voting is starting, get the word out there, let's get to the polls, let's make it a change that we need for our city to move forward. Thank you so much.
Dr. Bell, I'm gonna agree with you. Even though a district elects us, our decisions affect the whole city. So when somebody on Jefferson Street calls me and says they have a problem, they get an answer. If somebody stops me in Walmart because they recognize me, I don't ask them what district they live in. I just handle the problem if I can handle it or steer them where they need to steer. You wanna, I'm just waiting for her to finish. So if you want to put your money where your mouth is, like some folks have done, I've coached over 60 youth teams. All-stars, football, basketball, baseball. I've done it all. I love children. Recreation has been my passion. We have given the children the best quality equipment, the best quality places to play. We've looked after our special needs population now. They have a special place to go, which, as you probably read, is the cherry on top. We've looked after our youth, we've looked after our seniors, and we've looked after our special needs population. That's what it's about, is looking after everybody. Not just standing up here and saying, I'm gonna throw some pixie dust on it and fix it. You have to have foresight to be a leader. You just can't be reactionary to be a leader. You gotta look down the road to see what's coming. And some folks don't realize that. They think it's an instant gratification. And I'm no different. When I got on council, I thought it was the same way. So I'm not putting anybody down. You think you can change the world. But you gotta have the experience to know that you gotta have 3 teammates on anything you do on the city council. You can pound that table and say you want to do this and do this, but I gotta convince 3 people to go with me. And I have excelled at that. I have excelled at getting folks to go along. I haven't put my thumb on anybody's neck. I presented a product and they have supported me. I've done that very well and very efficiently. And I'm asking you to do that again. I'm not going to let people down all of a sudden because I haven't all these years. I've served this community over half my life. It means something to me. It's not up here to where y'all can smile and make y'all laugh. This is serious stuff. And I want to continue to represent this and take us to the next level, as Dr. Bell said. Vote James Johnson. Thank you very much.
I would like to thank all of our candidates and everyone in the audience for attending today. Whoever you vote for, please vote. These are local elections, they matter. Your vote matters. Thanks to the Wilson County Public Library for hosting us. I hope everyone has a good evening. Thank you.